A question on you on that. We're on this topic on like stuff we grew up with. How much does nostalgia play and like part of like influence for you in music?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think a lot. So right now, like what I'm really into, I'm really drawn to music that tries to take like older textures and older like sound design. One great example is a band called Bleachers. It's Jack Antonoff.
We were just listening to them while setting up.
Yeah. So all of his sound design and all the stuff, he uses so much stuff from the 80s and 90s, but none of it feels like 80s music. It feels very now and very here, but it feels like timeless to me. Somehow this song that was written yesterday feels like it's been around for 30 years, and that excites me. I think it's so cool if you could ever crack that code and just make something that's like timeless like that.
Sure.
But appeals to so many different genres because there's like so much musical value and like instrumental value to what he's doing, and like how much thought he puts into the music. I think it's so cool. And so I like that stuff now because I like how people can manufacture nostalgia, but it still feels like as good. It doesn't feel artificial to me.
And it feels new. Because that's the thing I ask, because that's why I asked what your musical influences earlier and if nostalgia plays a part. Because I noticed some people, they take nostalgia and they kind of want to recreate that same thing or that same feeling in their art. Yeah. And then there's those that kind of, is the same, inspired by something nostalgic, but they kind of want to do something that sounds way, kind of like Mitch Hedberg had a joke about like, I'm bringing comedy in this. He has a joke about how like movies that are inspired by are weird. Like, I wrote a movie about a guy who kills somebody, but I was inspired by that by a sandwich. Like, like you take it to a whole different level.
That's like ADD thinking. How did you give him a sandwich to murder? I can break it down to you, but but it was in that fast of a thing.
I also think like with writing music, and maybe you feel this way, sometimes I feel like a fear of like trying to capture nostalgia that's like inspired by like Bleachers or like Walk the Moon used to kind of make me feel that way, where I was like, man, I want to do what they're doing. In 1975, I want to do what they're doing. But then once they've done it and it takes you the amount of time it takes to like learn how to do that,
you don't want to be a couple.
No,
you're over. It's over.
It's over.
So I'm in trying to like
Maroon 5.
Totally. So it's like, okay, well, I think you guys sound amazing though. I wouldn't have known that it was a Maroon 5 influence, but I think you guys do it. You sound like you, I think.
Appreciate
it. But it's like, it's so scary to almost feel like, oh man, I might run out of time to capture this. So I've been trying to like crack a code in my head of like, what is it that actually does feel nostalgic? Because if these trends are constantly going and they're always changing, there's got to be something there that is the DNA of what makes it like pull at something for you.
Do you get does that get tiring though? Because like for me, I was in the exact same space of like we were trying to mimic Maroon 5 kind of, you know what I mean? And it was like we're writing these songs and they were great, but by the time we found something that's kind of related to Payphone or something, they were onto Animals, you know what I mean? Or they were onto Sugar, and you're like, cool. And like recently I wrote something that kind of had that Sugar vibe, and I'm like, this is a great song, but I don't think in today's world this would be.
Is this what this kind of is like because like I remember we did a show the other day and I was asking him about a new joke that I have in mind. It's like, I don't want to sound like someone else because it sounded similar to Al Madrigal's joke. Who? But you said, exactly. You said no. You said it wasn't. It was a different joke. Remember?
Oh yeah, because it's like
I try to not like do something that's already, do you ever have that? Like, is that what you're talking about with
a little bit? And I think that like sometimes that's contributed to burnout for me in certain musical projects is like the constant chase of like trying to.
Because you want to be different, also stand out, but I know,
But you have to be aware of like what's going on, and so right now, to answer your question and yours, I think it doesn't tire me to like think about it because I love thinking about like what makes music happen and like what makes us feel anything, because it's just sound.
Right.
Like, it's just random sound that we assigned feeling to. Yeah. And I tell it to my students too. It's like, what you do with like the ink on the page and the stuff is like what makes it feel like anything. Right. And so for me, I've been thinking a lot about like how do lyrics contribute to this, and like just melodic direction and design. Because if like production's going to change every 5-10 years anyway, and even faster, 2-3 years, if it's always changing, there's got to be something that makes us feel like it's the end credits of a movie or something like that, or like it makes us remember childhood and like feel that happy sadness, which is nostalgia. It's like happy sadness. There's like something there that we say. And so I think lyrics are like the secret. That's like where I'm trying to go is like letting the genre be like what I feel like creating at the time, but like trying to root my lyrics in like what I feel. 'Cause and like what maybe other people feel.
Nice. Yeah.
This also kind of ties into that. You just mentioned genre. Do you ever feel trapped in the genre, or do you like to play around?
Ooh. Yeah. Somebody once said that like being in a band is like, even if it's a box that you want to be in, it's a box. Yeah. Like, so sometimes I think like being in a band with like a specific branding can definitely feel limiting. I think that doing my solo stuff, I don't feel trapped at all. I do feel like very aware that I'm like setting up a sound and like setting kind of a style and a genre and kind of a brand for like the stuff that I make. And I feel aware of that, but I don't feel trapped by that, because there's so much flexibility in being a solo artist, I feel that I have flexibility if I want to switch it up. And I kind of do. So like,
well, I was gonna say, that's like, do you guys remember Garth Brooks in the 90s where he was like the biggest country music star? And he felt trapped that he couldn't do anything that wasn't country. So he created an alter ego so he could make other music. Like he had an emo wig and he went by the name Chris Gaines and put out a whole album just so he could make music that wasn't country.
Yeah. I mean, Backstreet Boys, what's his name, did that too. What's his name?
He became like a metal band, right?
Yeah, metal, like a
deathcore. Like that, yeah.
You know, comedian Harlan Williams. You know who that is? Harlan Williams. Yeah, you do.
I think I do. Yeah,
he's in Half Baked. He's the guy that gets locked up.
Oh yeah.
He used to go to like smaller towns and use a different name to get on like comedy shows. So he could try out new material.
Oh, that's cool.
Because he says once people know you and they know you for that, they kind of they laugh. Just laugh for whatever.
Music Soul Child did that too.
Yeah.
Because he was writing all these sad songs, R&B songs, stuff like that. He created an alternate personality called the Hustle, and everybody was like, "What the hell?" And he was trying to rap and stuff like that. And then I remember he went on the Breakfast Club, and they just like shitted on him the whole time. Like, why don't you do the classics? He was like, I can't do nothing else. He was like,
nobody wants to hear you rap, sir.
He literally said that. He was like, I can't be like upbeat. I always got to be sad. I always got to sing about love.
Oh, you know,
I said, I can't make a party jam.
Remember, what's his name? Billy Bob Thornton had a music group at one point. He went to the interview. He was like, I don't want you to ask about my movies, okay?
Well, yeah. Can you believe the Voice Party has had merch this whole time and we neglected to tell anybody? T-shirts, hoodies, bath mats, wall clocks, throw pillows, even mini skirts. We will throw our logo on absolutely anything. Click the link in the description below and pick you up some Voice Party merch today.